In other words, I'm hearing a voice. The decision that we would admittedly be apprehensive about what we intend to do for the next 57 minutes in regard to the title of this motion picture, which is about to go into full production, okay, is the story of A Course in Miracles. What we're going to study together, and I'm using that term rather advisedly, since we have with us the idea of the entirety of the book entitled A Course in Miracles, which obviously in the movie, in the motion picture, is going to be revealed as something in which admittedly a voice is speaking, all right, in a conversation you're having with yourself in regard to yourself. I think what surprises most of us, and particularly those of you who have been studying relationships of the admission that the voices you're hearing in your own mind are aggregations of continuing alternatives that can be based on the totality of an admission, and we're using the term miracle here. What we're going to do in this little interlude of time that we have, if you spent 2 hours with us, are look at the perspective that each moment that you are in observation of yourself, A Course in Miracles, in a voice that spoke to a scribe. In this case, it was, what was her name? Helen Schucman? Yeah. The idea in the storylines we're going to tell you are beautiful descriptions, say to me, dreams. Dreams. Of dream sequences that are going to be very evident. And I'm going to teach here, I got about 8 minutes to teach about what A Course in Miracles is. This is a study guide in the aspects, the degrees, and the intervals at which I am willing to admit within the nature of the voice that's directing me to alternatives, that is Homo sapien. I am perfectly aware that the consciousness of myself is actually instructing me on a continuing basis based on what I want to hear, and I'm using, again, this is the, remember, did we have the motion picture down the rabbit hole? What the bleep is going on? It's as fine an example of the study and the nature of the motion picture, which is going to be the third idea, and we'll be calling these people in this association, of the story of A Course in Miracles. Let's say, for example, that I'm in a study guide group and I'm using the Course in Miracles. What the Course in Miracles says can be summed up in 3 or 4 attitudes about what I'm trying to get you to see, in a reference in which you make an admission within the power of discernment of your own mind, that in the relative idea of the consciousness of your location, something else is trying to tell you about yourself. Now, these study groups are being organized all over the world. What are they? Course in Miracles. You see, the difficulty you have with the admission of the Course in Miracles, and let's look at it, is obviously the voice that appears to be speaking to me does not seem to be coming from anyone that I can locate within the frame of my mind. But except for that, and now they call me what you term a master teacher. I'm the idea that a voice, obviously, began to speak to me. And I am very fearful and apprehension, okay? Apprehension, is that the word?
Anxious.
Huh?
Anxious.
I'm anxious, yes. I'm in apprehension of a voice that suddenly is instructing me on solution that I am already and have been applying during the terms by which I represent myself as Homo sapien, in the conflict that I have felt in regard to the consciousness of my mind in solutions that I want to be true. All right? Let's say our study group about the Course is going to be evidence of Gnostic ideas that are contained within my own mind. Here's an example. Listen in the guides to the idea of a journey down the rabbit hole. Paradigm shift. A paradigm is a framework that holds all the elements of our experiences together and creates a cohesive picture of reality, a worldview. What are the roots of our current prevailing paradigm? What worldview is articulated in what the belief? What difference does it really make? Our worldview implies a way of knowing. This chapter also explores how to question claims of knowledge. What makes science, intuition, or channeled messages reliable or easy to dismiss? Quantum reality. What are the discoveries of quantum physics? What challenges do they pose to our current worldview? What do the discoveries of quantum physics tell us about the nature of reality? Many of the pioneers in quantum physics disagree on the implications of their discoveries. Of course they do, because voices are speaking to everyone in a continuing fashion of the chaos. Explore different explanations and perspectives on this mind-boggling science, or add your own, and this is why we're teaching the idea of A Course in Miracles. Creating our days. How can we create our days consciously and with clear intention? What is the scientific evidence for the power of intention? How can we know if our intention is having an effect? Here we explore both the extent and limits of our creative capacity and offer guidance on establishing our own practices for creating our day. And finally, in the currency of this, healing the past. How can we let go of old stories and shift the way we interact with the world? Here we explore ways in which emotional patterns can become biomechanical processes, and we introduce pathways to begin liberating ourselves from past conditions. The entirety of the teaching, come on now, of this voice that you're hearing in a process of A Course in Miracles is intended within the science evidence of the idea of your own self-consciousness to be offering you something else in a conclusion of the manner in which voices began to speak, okay, say to me, are frightening. Are inevitably frightening, because in this idea of the paradigm that we're comparing ourselves with, the idea of the fear involved in the simple acknowledgement that I am undergoing continuing changes in the relationship with myself are exactly and precisely what this Course in the Miracle is. Here's what I'm faced with. We intend now with full faculty, and I'm going to be involved in it as what you call a teacher of A Course in Miracles. Are all of us finally teachers of A Course in Miracles? Of course. What did you think you were evident in? Look, your search for solutions about problems that you have are always giving you answers within the idea of cause and effect relationships in what you want to see about the consciousness of yourself within the containment that is representing a light idea of faculty that suddenly began to appear in your individual study group. I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the idea, okay, that in this Course in Miracles, you are meeting in groups, individually within your own mind, in formulation of groups in which you exercise prerogatives of ideas of alternatives that are contained within your own mind, that are always offering you another picture of what you're seeing in the idea about yourself.